The World Health Organization says tobacco growing causes massive harm to the environment through extensive use of chemicals, energy, water and pollution from manufacturing and distribution. The agency is now calling on the tobacco industry to compensate for its products that contribute to greenhouse gases blamed for climate change, but gave no estimate of damage.
People die from tobacco. The economy, 1.8% of the GDP, almost $1.4 trillion, is impacted from tobacco use. And we could do a lot to reduce this burden. It damages the soil, it leads to deforestation, and has severe economic impact, which has not yet been fully documented because of lack of data, which the governments have not called upon the tobacco industry to report upon.
Ehi Iden is the CEO of Occupational Health and Safety Managers. He joins us now to talk more on the World Tobacco Day. Thank you for your time on TVC News R. Now, the theme basically is the threat to development. So tell us how tobacco really is a threat to development, because we know it's a hazard, of course, to health.
Of course. Let's take it from the point of the SDG 2030 agenda. If you look at the 3.4 item on that agenda, is talking about one of the things talked about is eradication of poverty and global peace. And if you look at that also, one of the things that the WHO wants to do is to implement the WHO Tobacco Framework Alliance, and to put it in that. What I was looking at is to reduce the non-communicable disease by 1/3%. Because if you look at it really, most of the non-communicable diseases you have, like cardiovascular issues, look at the cancer, look at the diabetes, they are all offshoots of tobacco. And the world is saying, we have lost so much funds to tobacco. Even in Lagos State, where we stay, you remember about 2007, 2008, when the Lagos State government actually took a certain tobacco company to court. And I remember the words of Governor Fashola then said that what the tobacco company pays to them as taxes is far less than what they're spending to treat tobacco-related ailments in the state. So if you put it in all the balances you look at, tobacco is a huge risk. Now you look at even the world right now, what we're talking about, IFO is talking about reduction in land that they need to actually do farming to be able to care for the world population in 2050. We cannot afford to release this land for tobacco farming, because when you do that, one of the things you look at, as studies have revealed, 40 to 70% of people who actually work in these tobacco farms are women, and they are all exposed to more than 7,000 different kinds of chemicals.
All right. Now, as you rightly mentioned, and as we know as well, tobacco is dangerous, not only to our health as individuals, but also to our environment, as it inhibits, the soil. It contributes to deforestation, and the rest of them. Isn't it possible that we ban, tobacco completely? Because it's foolhardy when when you know full well that something is, damaging to you, and then you still leave it around you. Isn't it good or possible that we ban it completely?
The world has been canvassing for this, but don't also ignore the fact that there are huge personality behind tobacco. There's a huge cartel behind tobacco across the world, not only in Nigeria. Don't forget Philip Morrison. Every government in every nation of the world has pointed a finger at them. But what some of the arguments surrounding this is that most countries are striving on revenue or taxes on tobacco and feel they want to hold on to tobacco. So we try to strike balances. Should we now take the revenue that we get from tobacco, let it be at the interest of public health? We cannot. And the world is saying, the high time we speak out collectively, strongly against tobacco, the better for us all. Let's try influencing government policies, retweak our policies, increase taxes and excise on tobacco. The more you increase the taxes and excise, tobacco becomes very expensive. People can no longer afford tobacco. And if you look at what has even been reported, close to 80 million to 950 million of adult smokers in the world, they are domiciled in developing countries, low and medium income countries. And research have said that these people spend 10% of their income on tobacco consumption. tobacco consumption has been identified as a fueler of poverty. Why? Because those the parents who smoke tobacco, they find themselves in an untimely death, living hardship for the children. So at the end of the day, you find out that most children in the world are not able to access education because the breadwinners are gone. So whichever balances you put it, tobacco is not doing us any good.
All right. Well, of course, we get to hear that it's a threat to human existence. And I was about to ask you what measures the government should take, but you mentioned some of them. So what should the public do now, really, at least, to be able to fight tobacco spread?
Well, the public should take a stand with government. I know that government also put a lot of policies in place. When government put policies in place and the public act in isolation of that policy, becomes a problem. We also have to